quite a few more to join, but I think we'll just kick off. So firstly, thank you all for joining and welcome. We're really excited to share with you this morning the details of the tourism recovery campaign, which has gone public this morning. As I said, we're expecting about 150 people on the call, so we are also recording the session so that people who aren't able to join will be able to see it afterwards. So I would say that if you don't want your video or any audio to be part of this, then just switch off. That would be great. The format of the session is that first we will hear from Donald Emsley, who many of you will know is Chair of ETAG. He's going to do a quick introduction around the development of the campaign and the concept behind the new campaign platform. He will then hand over to Rob Lang, who is Head of Marketing at Edinburgh Airport and also Director of ETAG. And Rob has been really the driving force behind the project and put a huge amount of effort into getting this to where we are. So it's thanks to Rob, and you will hear from him directly about the detail of the platform as we go forward. We've then got time for questions. Given the number of people on the call, we will take questions in the chat box. So please do feel free through the duration of the presentations to put your questions in there, and we will be keeping an eye on that. We don't have a huge amount of time for questions, obviously, so we will try as best we can to get through as many as we can, but for those that we don't get to, we will be collating them and we'll come out with information after the session. But as I say, we'll do our best to get to as many as we can. So I'm going to hand over to you, Donald, if that's okay, and I'll put myself on mute for now. Thanks.
Thank you, Gillian, and good morning, everybody. Thank you so much for taking the time to join this call this morning. It's an incredibly important time for the industry, and I'm just pleased to see so many people taking the time to hear what we have to say. And as you'll learn across the course of the next hour, it's important that we all collaborate together, and your support and collaboration will be greatly appreciated for the greater good of the city. As Gillian has said, we've been working hard on the development of a plan to support the recovery of Edinburgh's tourism and hospitality sector from the tremendous impacts of the COVID-19 pandemic. I think it's never before has our industries faced such a challenge, and for that reason we've had to think very differently about how we as a city collectively respond. We recognise right away the need to sensitively and responsibly encourage people back into the city once we knew what was open and that the staff within the businesses and the visitors would feel safe. Now, it's clear that city tourism across the world has been particularly hard hit, and Edinburgh is no exception. Many of what were the city's key tourism strengths only a few months ago are now major challenges. For example, the volume of international visitors, the strength of business tourism and the conference market, and of course, the festivals, which only last night launched their Light Festival. However, the core appeal of Edinburgh and what makes it so special is its history, heritage and architecture, and that's all still there. So we have a very strong foundation to build on. ETAG has been working with partners over the last several months on a resilience, reboot and recovery plan. And as we slowly come out of lockdown and the industry reboots, we're now very much focused on the recovery process. And I don't think that anyone is under any illusions that this is going to be a quick or simple process. It creates new, unique challenges that the city and the city's tourism business have never faced before. Clearly, every business is going to have to adapt to this new normal, whether that's changes to the way they do business, with critical importance on digital solutions, or physical measures that we've all had to put in to address social distancing, creating new products and services to meet the changing market profile and how they market themselves. We believe that the city as a whole has to take a similar approach and requires a new and unique response to promoting the city. It's this thinking that has been behind the development of this new platform that you're going to hear about today that Rob's been working on. And I should say sparing Rob's blushes, he's done a huge amount of work over the last few months to bring this all together in collaboration with the working group that he put together with some key partners across the city and also the Lane Advertising. So it's down to their hard work that we're now in such a strong position to be able to sit before you today and launch this platform. So it's being developed with several core principles in mind, public safety being the top priority, ensuring that the health and well-being of the city's residents, workers and visitors is ensured. We've created something that everyone can be part of, and that's important, from the smallest local business to residents and even visitors themselves. And this idea of collaboration right away across the sector is so important for the success of this new platform that you're going to learn about in a few minutes. It's flexible and agile and will be highly responsive, and as we need to respond to changing circumstances. You know, we're launching today on the 10th, and only last week we learned about what was happening in Aberdeen. So we've got to be constantly on the guard for changes in what's happening out there in our city, and therefore this platform is designed to be flexible and agile in order to cope with all these changing circumstances. What you'll learn is it's focusing on both informing our visitor, but also inspiring them to come and visit us again and take the time to spend time in Edinburgh, whether you're a visitor from outside of Edinburgh or indeed a local still living in Edinburgh and wanting to reacquaint yourself with parts of the city perhaps that you haven't seen for quite some time. And we've been doing a lot of thinking and reflecting on what we should say and when we should say it. So it's important that we have the right messages to the right markets at the right time. And we've been working with very closely with the Edinburgh University and their digital information department about the markets that we should be targeting as this campaign and platform rolls out over the next few months. Of course, the platform is not a substitute for individual businesses' own marketing activity. Rather, it provides a framework and some tools and a single unified message that everyone can adapt and adopt and amplify to their benefit. So it benefits your business, but also the whole of Edinburgh. So this concept of adopt, adapt and amplify and using the tools in your own way is something that you'll hear from Rob, but it's actually a very important ingredient of what we've developed. ETAG's always been a passionate advocate about collaborating to compete, and we believe that it's never been more important that the industry comes together to collaborate against the challenges that we are facing right now and the challenges that the tourism sector will face in the coming months, right the way across the wider city. So it's important that we develop this Team Edinburgh approach. Everybody has a part to play in this success of this platform. And today is only the very first and early steps, and there'll be lots more to come as we develop this platform over the coming months. So please, when you've finished listening today, think about how you can get involved. Think about how you can use the toolkit that we will supply you. And I really look forward to working with you in the future and towards the success of recovering Edinburgh's tourism industry. So that's enough for me just now. I look forward to answering some of your questions later on. But for now, what I'll do is hand you across to Rob, who's going to take you through the detailed approach to the platform that we've been developing. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Donald. If you just bear with me, I will. So, thank you very much, Donald. As you said, this is very much the leading part of what we're saying is our city recovery plan. The recovery is not just about tourism. This platform is not just about tourism. It's about the economic development of our city. It's about well-being of our city. It's about the residents of our city. Fundamentally, this is here to support the recovery of our capital. It's to ensure we engage with local residents to begin with, to ignite that civic pride that has been so passionate and so strong for the past few months, and make sure that manifests itself and continues to develop in the coming weeks, months and years. What we've done is developed a platform to actually help strengthen your own business's marketing campaigns. As Donald quite rightly said, this is not a marketing campaign in itself. It is very much to support and to bolster exactly what you're doing at the moment. Fundamentally, we're here to drive responsible footfall throughout the city. And it pains to say responsible because that is exactly what we need to make sure we are at all times. We want to encourage dispersal throughout the city, not just the city centre. We want to ensure that people can enjoy all 8 of the towns throughout Edinburgh. And fundamentally, we're here, as I said, for economic recovery. We're here to try and reduce job losses. I'm sure you all already know that even here at the airport, we've announced job losses. There will be job losses throughout the city, which is a real tragedy. What we need to do is ensure we try and mitigate that wherever possible. And that is what we're looking to try and do today with this platform and with your support. But again, fundamentally, at the core of this is to instill confidence. Confidence not just for our visitors, but also for the people of Edinburgh, to ensure that visitors and residents can sit together and live together in harmony. Yes, we need to ensure that social distancing is made sure at all times. We talk about that and we promote the city's great wide open spaces. So what is it we're actually trying to achieve? As I said, it is very much that strong civic pride. It's something that came out very loud and clear when we were actually writing the brief. And I've got to say at this point, massive thanks to a number of partners such as Festivals Edinburgh, the Old Town Community Council, and also especially Edinburgh World Heritage, who all instilled this aspect of civic pride. The key thing we did when we briefed this was ensure that we were all talking together to make sure we were trying to pull together in the same direction. Fundamentally, what came out was authenticity. Whatever we do has to be quintessentially Edinburgh. At the same time, we have to embrace what Edinburgh is as a fantastic city. We've got that diversity that we see normally this month, especially with all the festivals going on, and we also got that massive inclusivity. We want to try and capture the essence of that and make sure that people see what we want. But fundamentally, we want to ensure people want to come back to this fantastic city. We want to recreate that desire to come back into Edinburgh and to explore different parts of Edinburgh they may not have seen before. And throughout it all, as I said, to ensure that we're acting responsibly and sustainably, not forgetting our 2030 commitment for carbon neutrality. Fundamentally, this is to be based around the 5 key pillars of our city tourism strategy. This is not replacing our city tourism strategy. This is very much something that is here for the short term, whilst we can actually regroup and work together to move forward. Edinburgh, we know, is for timeouts and for workouts. It's for culture, it's for pleasure. It's for imaginations and for inspiration. It's for open spaces and for open minds. It's for memories and for discoveries. It's for history and for all kinds of futures. It's for foodies and for lovies. It's for us. It's for the world. Forever. Edinburgh. Forever Edinburgh meets the brief. Why? It's completely timeless. Fundamentally, this city lives on no matter what. It's a time of trouble. Our families turn to each other. Our children turn to our parents. We turn to our friends and our family. So why will the city not turn back to the rock? the rock that is based upon, the rock that we have a castle on top of. A city that has had so many attacks on it, it is unbelievable, but yet still manages to survive at all times and comes through and always will. Fundamentally, what we have is a love letter from the city. It's here for everyone. It's here for me, for you, for the entire world. Is it nostalgic? Yes, without question, and unashamedly so. But it's also very forward thinking. What we want to do is to ensure that people not only remember those good times, but also want to plan and want to come back and want to think about the future, and realizing that Edinburgh will always be here for you no matter what. It very much does capture the reflective state of mind that we all find ourselves in the past few months, in these past few troublesome and tiring months. But again, it is something that says throughout it all, we're here for you and for everyone. Developing, we know that it needs to have a very strong identity, something that's simple. Why? Well, we need to make sure the city does shout, because it is, without doubt, one of the best cities in the world. I may be biased, but I'm sure you all are as well. We want to ensure it's inclusive. It has to be creative. We don't want it corporate. We want to make sure the city can take that ownership back. At the same time, we want to make sure that it's complementary to what we're talking about. Positivity, motivational, something that has been quite tough for the past few months. But again, we're now seeing the light at the end of the tunnel, hopefully. But at the same time, as Donald quite rightly said, agile enough that if needs be, God forbid, we can change it as to the circumstances. Again, that flexibility. How can we ensure that Nick at the castle can buy into as much as the Pitt Street Market, my own personal favourite, Cairngorm's coffee? We need to make sure this works for our global leading attractions, to our smaller attractions, right down to our independent traders. And this has brought us back to how can you actually have that as a sign-off? How can you have that as that love letter from the city? And the flexibility of that just said one thing. We simply sign it. That's all we do. But again, thinking about flexibility and versatility, we make sure you can choose how you want it to look. And we want the city and the people of the city to take ownership of this. It's your city, so it's your colour. We won't have brand guidelines, we will have a playbook. We want the city to have fun with this. You make it whatever colour or however you design it, however you want to, we will support you. We want it to run like a stick of rock throughout the city. From the airport right down to Leith and Portobello, no matter how small, it will make a difference. Just to say we are part of this city and this city lives on forever, no matter what. A united and consistent voice is exactly what we've been aspiring to achieve across the city. We know we've got so much to talk about, so that from that perspective, what we agreed was 5 key themes: open space and outdoor activity, attractions, culture, retail and accommodation, and my own personal favourite, I have to admit, food and drink. I hope you're sure that these capture the key essence of what our fantastic city can offer us. As we said, this is very much to support your existing marketing campaigns. We're challenging you today now to say, well, what are your businesses doing? How can you integrate forever into what you're doing? And at the same time, how can we support you? Fundamentally, the targeting will be done and driven by you, the businesses. What we're here to do is, as we said, to amplify and to support, and to say that yes, united, this city will stand and does stand. Fundamentally, we need to make sure safety does come first. The inform aspect will work in collaboration, and at this point I have to say special thanks to both Paula Ward and to Vicky Miller and the team at Visit Scotland to support us in the activity that they've done already, and also in collaboration with us at Forever Edinburgh. Know Before You Go is a fantastic campaign and a fantastic message that we are wholeheartedly behind and we will wholeheartedly support. We will act as that conduit to point people to the Visit Scotland information to ensure that we're getting the right message out at the right time. And again, we want people to be a good guest. We want to ensure that everybody who comes into the city, be it for 30 minutes, 3 days, 3 weeks, or even a lifetime, is a good guest, because we need to treat our city with care, especially now. But we also want to ensure we inspire. We want to create new memories or invoke old memories. We want to ensure that our businesses have that platform to launch off and say, this is how I can adapt it, and this is how I can amplify it, and say I am part of one of the greatest cities in the entire world. Instead, we're working very closely with the likes of Visit Scotland. The list have provided a fantastic feed for us into a microsite, more of which later, and the OTAs in association with Edinburgh Hoteliers Association, and a great supporter of the platform. Impact, inform, inspire. That is basically what the crux of what we're looking to do today. We'll have a promotional video, which I'll show you in a second. We've got out-of-home visuals, massive support from the City of Edinburgh Council, which we're entirely grateful for, Edinburgh Trams as well, and Smart Outdoor Media, who again have all gifted space that you'll see in the coming days and weeks, and also Edinburgh Airport as well. Again, thinking about that stick of rock from the airport right through to Leith and Portobello. How can we get the Forever Edinburgh message out there and getting it cutting through so that people, the residents, love it, and then gradually over time it will actually grow out to a national and an international audience as well. Yes, we use social media. You've probably seen already the Evening News, who have been, again, supporters of us, and the Scotsman, leading with the hashtag Forever Edinburgh. Again, I'm delighted to say that we've got such key partners all working together in unison. That competitive collaboration that Donald was talking about has never been truer than it is now. What we look to do is very much focus hyper-locally at the moment. Focus on our residents. Let's get the people of Edinburgh back into our city. But then, over time, and when it's ready and when it's right, we can gradually grow that and evolve it and develop it to a national and to an international level. But only when it is right. And at the same time, as we said, be agile enough that we can move back if we have to. The microsite is very much going to be a conduit. It will provide that relevant information, the most up-to-date information from Visit Scotland, the most up-to-date information from the list's 1,300, I believe, pubs, cafes and restaurants as to what is ready with regards to their operations. Are they open? Are they doing takeaway only? What's their ordering service? All this information will be there on the list. What we do is the Forever Edinburgh microsite, as I said, will act as that conduit to support you. It will be that key area where you can go to be pointed to the latest information. We also have an element whereby we can have an upload function, which will allow businesses to say, this is why I'm part of this city. This is why this city will live on forever. User-generated content will be a key part of our the platform moving forward and our communications moving forward. It also enables the people of Edinburgh to actually show them exactly what Edinburgh means to us. So you can upload that and then the visuals to that, and then it will actually become part of our overall campaign. Digital toolkit will be available on the ETAG website, and you will also have elements for residents on the microsite as well. Branding collateral, be it social imagery, be it the promotional film, be it the logo, be it the playbook as well. I've called it a playbook on purpose, not just because it's not brand guidelines. It is exactly how the city needs to be at the moment. You can do with it what you will. You can have fun with it. We can actually smile again. We can enjoy using it, and we can actually try and make it come to life. Fundamentally, this is about working together to promote our city. So that is the parent film. There will be different versions going based on each of the themes. And here we have some of what we're planning for out-of-home visuals and also on social media. As I said, for open minds and for open spaces. Again, we're very cognizant of the current economic climate we find ourselves in. And so that's why you see in the imagery, we'll always try and provide something that is either free or very low cost. Because we know the climate we're in now, we need to make sure that at the core of this is inclusivity, making sure that absolutely everybody, no matter what budget, can enjoy Edinburgh. No matter what age, and no matter where they're from, we want to make sure that people love our city. And at the same time, that they want to come back, be it for a day or stay for a weekend. We want to ensure that we bring some fun back into Edinburgh. The microsites, as I said, will go live later this week. It will have those different areas across the 5 themes. We'll also have those links that I talked to, each of them pointing to the right information to make sure we have got the very latest information for the residents and for the people who want to come in to the city. Know before you go, and pre-planning is at the heart of everything we need to do. And the playbook, as we said, again, is very much a playbook. It is, here's some ideas, here's some inspiration. These are not brand guidelines. We want people to actually go and have fun with this. So how can you get involved? Well, as we said, fundamentally, please do look to integrate Forever Edinburgh, be that the logo, be that some of the collateral, into your campaigns, into your content. Adapt it for wherever you see fit. We want people to use the Forever Edinburgh collateral, which will all be available for you within the next coming days. More information of that will be coming out via the ETAG email address and to all the delegates here today as well. But again, as I said, please do create your own. We want people to embrace it. We want the ownership to be taken by the city. So think about what makes Edinburgh such an incredible place for you. What makes it last forever for the people? So just think again, how can you use this? The hashtag Forever Edinburgh on social media, we're looking to try and make sure we can get that trending. Why? So that people start thinking about Edinburgh more, be that in the short term, domestically and locally, and then over longer term. As Donald said, this campaign will last for a period of time. We're estimating between 9 and 12 months before we can get back up and running fully again. So again, this is something we need to make sure that we continue to support. And that's why we've got those 5 key themes. But again, this is why it is so vital that we have more content for ongoing development. And that's where you, the people of Edinburgh, come in to play. How do you want to play a role in this? How are you going to play a role in your city's recovery? I think the international and the festivals, Edinburgh Activity International Festivals, led with the overall 5 festivals activity with My Light Shines On over the weekend. I'm sure you'll all agree it was quite a spectacle and really something to behold. But I think that really says something to me. It was to collaborate. It was to support each other. And it was to come together, to understand and ensure that the city will live on forever. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you, Rob. We've got a few questions coming in on the Q&A site there. So, Gillian, do you just want to?
Yeah, sure. Okay. So as Rob said, the campaign platform that we're talking about today is very much kind of aimed initially at that local market. But there's a question here, Paula, perhaps for you from Visit Scotland around that kind of international visitor market and what Visit Scotland and the Scottish Government have been doing to try and attract international visitors. I don't know if you want to say a little bit about that.
Yeah, sure. So during the pandemic, we've been operating in partnership with Scottish Government and taking a 4-phased approach to recovery. It's always been in the plan that the UK domestic market was going to play the pivotal role in the immediate recovery for the short term for Scotland's destinations, and Edinburgh is very much in that category. We know that Edinburgh had a higher level of exposure to the international market because of the consumer mix. At this stage, we're currently in the UK domestic recovery phase. So our campaigns went live on the 15th of July for Scots to try and reignite their passion for Scotland and get people hyper-local out into the cities and the destinations. We have a small pause on some of our UK activity because there are clusters that are popping up, and we're having to have reinforced lockdown restrictions in a number of locations across the UK. So we have to be very mindful of that. However, what we don't do is we don't take our eye off the future pipeline for the international market. So while we can't do paid media activity in those markets, we do know that Germany, France, Spain, Italy, the US, Canada, they're all part of our growth strategy. They were before the pandemic and they will remain so going forward. So what we have been doing is our market managers for each of those territories, we have a team who look after the agents, the wholesalers, the aviation partnerships, and then also the media who give us the direct consumer platforms in all of those key international markets. We've been having weekly and fortnightly update calls with them. We've been putting together a series of webinars so that we can put Scottish product in front of them. So while they do their brochure planning for 2021, and while they start to look at what sort of offers and packages they would want to put together as part of an inbound Scotland offering, that we're front and centre within that planning process, but we don't anticipate there being any paid media activity for that international market until 2021, because a lot of those, I guess, country of origins, they all have their own challenges around movement of people connected into coronavirus. So we need to be very mindful of that, and our best shot at recovery quickly will come from the UK market.
Thanks, Paula. Oh, sorry, I just lost the questions there. Sorry, I'm going to direct another one to you, Paula. Obviously, you've done a huge amount of work around the kind of know before you go consumer-facing piece, but there's also a question here around the kind of general issue of tourism tour group companies in particular breaking the guidelines. And I know you've done some work around the kind of good to go scheme, around ensuring that businesses are absolutely following the procedures and that they are good to go. Do you want to say a little bit more about what we're doing just to make sure that businesses are complying with the guidelines?
Sorry, I think there's going to be a new entry into the Oxford Dictionary for you're on mute for this year. So yes, the Good to Go accreditation and platform, ourselves along with Visit Wales, Visit England, Visit Ireland and Visit Northern Ireland are all subscribing to Good to Go as the accreditation process. Good to Go then works with each of the sectoral and industry bodies to make sure that there are detailed guidelines available on those sites that each of the segments of the sectors can tap into. So for example, in Self-Catering Association of Scottish Visitor Attractions, what we do know is that there actually is a gap for tour guides and tour operators, and I know that the tour sector are trying to get their governing body to publish those guidelines. So where those guidelines exist, businesses can go on and they can register as Good to Go and make sure that they've gone through the process of the risk assessments and then applying for the accreditation for the businesses. There's then additional follow-up spot checks that happen with the businesses through environmental health officers, and it's partnership through local authority and a number of other partners in that space. So yeah, there is a management process for that, where we are working with the sector specifically at Visit Scotland level, as we've sent out industry communications to just over 15,000 businesses that are registered with listings on Visit Scotland. Scotland.com to ask them to make sure that they do two things, that they, one, update their good to go accreditation status, and that they also update their post-COVID opening status as well, because what we're seeing at the minute is a huge uplift in referrals and search on visitscotland.com. So people looking for holidays, looking for bedrooms, looking for tour product and experiences. And we don't have enough product that has guaranteed that they are both open and that they're both also good to go accredited, so that we can make sure that we match those searches with the supply line as well. So I would urge people that if you do have a listing on .com, that you would go on and make sure that it's completely up to date.
Thanks, Paula. Okay, a couple of questions here back to the Forever Edinburgh campaign specifically. Rob, I'm going to direct these to you if that's okay. I'm going to kind of lump these in together. So first one is, will the ETAG promotional video be on YouTube? Because somebody's wanting to promote that on their social accounts. And when will the digital toolkit stroke playbook be available? Rob, could you pick that up?
Yep, of course. So yes, we'll get all the ETAG. It'll be on the YouTube. Kim will probably correct me if I'm wrong, but no, it will be out there, and it'll also be available for download. The playbook, etc., will be out. I'd probably say realistically it's going to be Wednesday, but you'll have all those assets will be out. You'll start seeing elements on ETAG website, so please do go there. We've got the social elements and we've got logos, etc., there at the moment. Playbook should actually, in theory, maybe actually out later today. But the key thing will be just keep an eye out for your emails in the coming days.
Thanks, Rob. And another question, I know you touched on this briefly, but how long does the campaign intend to run?
So, good question. It's going to run as long as we think it needs to. We are seeing estimates at the moment between 9 and 12 months, just due to some of the insights we're getting from the likes of Visit Scotland and the other agencies as well. I also saw Ian Baxter's comment about students as well. Yes, we are speaking to all 4 universities. I've got regular calls with all the directors of marketing for all 4 universities, and all the collateral is getting made available for them within the next 48 hours as well, so that we can promote that out there and get that out there for, especially at the moment, clearing, I would imagine, is a key opportunity for us to try and get more students back in.
Thanks, Rob. So I'm just looking to make sure I've not missed anything here. Okay, question from Alistair Northrop. How can tourism businesses get involved in the videos? One for you, Rob, I think.
Yep, so again, that's a key question. It's a good question. We put a call out for content originally for elements. So if you've got any content, it would need to be raw footage. Please do send it through. We can't guarantee we'll include people, but we will try wherever possible to fit it into those key themes. If you send it through to, and Gillian, correct me if I'm wrong, the team at etag.org.uk, then we will be working on this. I said it is a very, very fluid platform, in that we are constantly changing it. We're constantly making sure we're talking about the right elements and what's actually open. You'll have seen that's why we've purposely, looked at the launch now, because we know the castle is open. We've got all the other elements opening, either opened or opening in the very near future, because we need to make sure that we're talking about the most relevant aspects. So please do send, if you've got static visuals, then we can get you into the social media activity and we can get into the outdoor. If you've got film footage, please do send it all through to the team at etag.org.uk.
Thanks, Rob. And thanks also for the comments coming through in support of the campaign, Leslie and Sue. That's great. Glad you like it. I think we're almost coming to a wrap there in terms of questions. Unless anybody has anything else, Rob, I might hand over to your, Donald, I might hand over to yourself just to do a kind of wrap up and next steps.
Okay, thanks, Gillian. And there was a question there that I looked at in terms of from Ronald Little just about mitigating job losses, and we haven't really talked enough about jobs on this call, but it has been a fundamental driver for everything that we've been talking to our partners around the table, Ronald, and also the City of Edinburgh Council. We're very conscious that the tourism industry in Edinburgh supports at least 30,000 direct jobs, and that many of them are at risk, or sadly, some of them may have already gone. And we estimate right at the start of this that the £1 billion of visitor expenditure that we might have lost between March and September could affect up to 18,000 jobs. So we're well aware of the focus of part of this campaign is helping businesses to maintain jobs, and the way that we can do that is bring the tourists back into the city, either local tourists going to support their local communities, or bring people back into the city from outside the city. So that has always been a very key driving force behind the campaign. And I noticed another question just about local parts of Edinburgh and how places like the Royal Mile can be supported. I know that City of Edinburgh Council are looking at a Shop Local campaign, and the Forever Edinburgh will support that as well in terms of looking in at the local communities and the local towns within Edinburgh that need the support of both the industry but also of the residents who want to shop local. So all of these will be part of the campaign, and as Rob said, if we get lots of local footage and photographs and images from either residents or local businesses, then we'd be happy to include them in the campaign as we go forward and put them on the platform. So, well, I mean, I think we've come round now to about 45 minutes, and we said we'd take no more than an hour. Hopefully this has been helpful for you. I can't express enough really how important it is that we do collaborate together so that we can compete against the impact of the COVID-19 pandemic, but also compete against other cities. It's so important that Edinburgh remains visible and on everybody's agenda to come and see us, whether it's now or at some point in the future. So if I know there's some questions coming through, Gillian, do you want to?
One just a point of clarification. Somebody's asked us to repeat the email for submitting any raw footage or images, which I can do. That is the team at etag.org.uk. And as Rob said earlier, we will be actively coming out through our mailing list with kind of updates as and when there's new bits and pieces available to you to engage with. But also keep an eye on the ETAG website, because the playbook and toolkit will be in there, and that will be used and evolved as we go through the kind of duration of the campaign. A couple of other comments in there. The Coburn Association saying that this year's Doors Open Days Edinburgh provides a useful opportunity to reconnect people, that's residents and visitors alike, which is absolutely true. So perhaps we look at how we maybe do something a bit more in partnership around that through the Forever Edinburgh platform. Yeah, I think that's mainly it for now.
James offering his photographic services, which I'm sure at no charge, which I'm sure somebody will be able to want to take you up on that, James, I'm sure.
Yeah.
But anyway, listen, thanks for everyone who's attended. It's been a great turnout. Well over 100 people have taken the time to spend with us this morning. I hope it's been of interest and some use to you. I would just reiterate Rob's plea. It's all about collaboration. The more we can work together, the more chance we have of getting Edinburgh's consistent voice and message out there, and encouraging as many people to come and visit us as possible. The film is really, as Rob mentioned, a love letter from Edinburgh to all of our tourists, whether they're local, UK domestic or international, and I think it will send a very strong message out there that there's still a lot of that Edinburgh can offer, and a lot of interesting and imaginative and inspiring things to do as you come to Edinburgh. So if there's no more questions and no points, Gillian, from you, then I think we can bring all that to a close. And once again, thank you very much for joining us this morning. Thank you. Bye, everybody.